In this video, I'm sharing the easiest anger management technique you'll ever learn because anger creates a lot of chaos and a lot of pain fast, and I don't want that for you. So in this video, I'm going to share a very simple technique you can use today to manage your anger and calm down. But first, if you're new, my name's Michelle Farris. I'm a psychotherapist and I love helping people create relationships that work. The first thing I want to say to you is anger doesn't make you bad or wrong. Everybody has anger. Even babies feel anger because it's a natural human emotion. And actually, it's a really important emotion because it tells us something isn't okay with us. But the key to anger management is to catch and identify your feelings early. And if you're like me, you may have grown up in a family where they didn't teach you anything about how to handle your emotions. You say me too in the comments, I'm right there with you. The other thing that happens when we struggle with anger is that we blame ourselves. We feel bad. We think we're being too sensitive or we're overreacting. But here's the thing. If you and I had coffee for 10 minutes and you told me your story about why you were angry, I would absolutely validate it and say, yeah, I totally get why you're angry. There is always a valid reason why somebody is angry. And the more you can adapt that and to hold that as your truth, the easier it's going to be for you to do this work. Because making yourself wrong, minimizing your anger, pretending everything's okay, none of that works. What works is to embrace how you feel in the moment, no matter what it looks like, because that's how you can love and accept yourself. Let's face it, we can't really have healthy relationships if we don't manage our emotions effectively, but that's what I'm going to teach you today. So before I teach you this very important skill, I want to talk about something real quick. Most people with anger issues don't recognize it building. So many people in my Calming Anger class tell me, I just blew up. And they don't recognize that they probably didn't just blow up because that one thing happened. They blew up because there was a series of events that happened that contributed to it. And here's what I mean. Say you wake up in the morning and you didn't really wake up on the right side of the bed. You have breakfast, the toast is burnt, you're kind of annoyed, you had a little fight with your spouse, you go to work, maybe you get chewed out or something happens at work that really bugs you. You don't really say anything, you don't handle it, you work through lunch because you're super busy or maybe you have a deadline, and on the way home, you're hoping to have a nice ride home, but you're stuck in traffic. You're probably super annoyed, right? Maybe you come home to a dirty house and the kids are being too loud and you lose it. You didn't lose it because your kids were loud, right? You lost it because of all the other factors and difficulties that happened throughout that day that you didn't pay attention to. And that's the secret to anger management. You have to be able to identify your feelings early because then they're much easier to control. When you've already lost it, it's impossible to control. So the earlier you're able to identify your feelings of anger or stress, because let's face it, they're both the same in the body, the easier you're going to be able to use the tool I'm giving you. So let's get to it. So what is this anger management technique? Here it is. Rate your stress from 1 to 10. And what I mean by that is the earlier you can identify feelings of stress or anger, the easier it's going to be for you to control it. So here's what I mean. Most of us have stress, right? But identifying it early is what makes the difference. And I'm going to show you how to do that. There's two parts to it. The first part is identifying your number. So 1 or 2 is super low stress, but it's really not causing any difficulty in your life. 3, 4, yeah, you're starting to feel maybe some muscle tension. Maybe you're starting to clench your jaw a little bit. You're having a little bit of negative thoughts. Some stuff's happening and you know you're upset, but it's not that bad yet, so you ignore it. Major red flag. So when it hits a 5, that's usually the time where you're beginning to lose control. You're starting to yell, you're starting to say things that are hurtful. You're really on that edge of losing control. And 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is when we increasingly lose control until we're in a rage. And we have absolutely no control over what we're doing at that point because we are simply reacting. That's what 1 to 10 looks like. Some common signs to help you recognize your anger or stress. So the first one is an increased heart rate. Most of us can tell when we're getting anxious because our heart is starting to pound, right? Another one is muscle tension. Maybe you're starting to get some tension in your shoulders or your back, or maybe you have a stomach ache. Another common warning sign might be something you do, like you pick up a cigarette or you go for that piece of sugar because you're really frustrated but you don't want to admit you're feeling, so you eat that feeling until it goes away. Another sign might be negative thinking, like, oh, here we go again. She's gonna say the same thing she did last night. I wish she would stop bugging me. Whatever that is, I want you to identify early negative thoughts, because we all have them. And if you have a tendency to catastrophize, meaning that you assume the worst, that starts in your thinking. That doesn't start with somebody else's actions. And the big thing about negative thoughts is that they're all typically assumptions we make. We assume the worst instead of realize that nothing's actually happened yet. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of and write down 3 early warning signs that tell you you're starting to get upset. Whether it's a physical sign in your body, whether it's an emotional sign like a certain feeling that you get, whether it's a behavioral sign, something you do. I tend to pace. I tend to maybe want to start swearing. And number 4, a negative thought like, oh, here we go again, or this sucks, or life isn't fair. So the next step I want you to do is I want you to write down your early warning sign in the chat. What is that 1 or 2 signs that tell you, oh, yep, I'm going there, I'm getting upset? Because what we want to do is we want to pair those early warning signs with the number 1 to 10. So for instance, if your early warning sign is, I'm screaming, well, that's probably on an 8. So the goal here is to identify these warning signs early, when they're still manageable, when you haven't lost control yet. Because this is what I offer in my free email course on anger. Because if you can identify your anger early, you're going to be able to avoid a rage. You're going to be able to avoid pretending everything's okay when it isn't, and then those feelings leaking out in sarcasm or hurtful comments with other people when you actually never meant them to. Because anger management is about emotion management. It's about how do you manage your feelings, and rating your stress and your anger level from 1 to 10 throughout the day is your homework assignment. I had one client literally tell me that he was an 8 when he woke up. He was that worried and that obsessed about what was going on at work that he could never shut it off. Because I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anybody. So what I want you to do is I want you to rate your stress in the morning when you wake up, when you get to work, at lunchtime, sometime in the afternoon, and before you get home from work. And if your number is a 5 and above, I want you to leave. I want you to do something to take care of that emotion, whether it's take a walk outside, do some writing, call a friend, listen to inspiring music, do something to calm yourself down, because that 5 is your breaking point before you head into losing control, and I don't want that for you. So your next step, if you want to go further, is to go get my free email course on anger. Thanks so much.